We got ourselves Team Blue. We're gonna go over them real quick. Baczynski, we got ourselves Janesar, we got ourselves Easy, we got ourselves KM, we got Buzo going up first as a Shadow Priest versus Oleg, playing themselves the Destro Warlocks, firing already flames. Flaming his enemy team already. We got Zoo in a team red with Judah Master in the back. We also got Fortune and Man. Buzo is gonna be hit with a little bit of a succubus CC as Oleg is gonna land himself a big old Casbolt onto Buzo. A little bit of damage going out onto the Shadow Priest, trying to get himself some Shadow Men's. Is gonna have to go for a little bit of a CC chain. Oleg dropping down the Infernal, trying to get through the proc of Buzo a little bit. It's gonna be able to get out of that stun, however, with a Fear to follow. Trying to let the Fear on the court, does not get it. Is gonna get an Immolate onto Mindbender and the Shadow Priest. The Russian Shadow Priest Buzo is just trying to get the hell out of there for a moment. Is going to try to maybe reverse some damage back, but it's going to be a horror effect. Dropping Buzo down quite a little bit of health. Is going to go for, I think, what looked like for a Greater Fade for a second, maybe. Did it Greater Fade that Chaos Bolt, or did that get absorbed with absorbs on its own? But that's going to be Oleg. Find himself some line of sight, some much needed line of sight to get some damage on the Priest, but he's going to turn around with a little bit of mind control and a silence right before. Try to go for a Fear onto Oleg. He might be able... No, he's actually going to walk him to the other side of the pillar altogether. Actually going to give him enough time for the pet to get out of combat, and pet catches a re-stealth. Going to be a little bit of a vampiric embrace coming out for the Russian Priest. Chaos Bolt's firing away by Oleg, though, but no more Infernal at the very least. So Oleg is going to have a little bit of that damage loss, however. And Buzo might actually be able to tussle around with this Warlock damage. Going to go for his procky playstyle. Is going to go for a Greater Fade for the Casbolt. Just going to fade out of there, man. Just floating out of there like Casper the Ghost. Going to be a pour for Oleg as he actually gets on top of Buzo. Who's going to just mind control him off of the platform and maintain that dominance of the hill. He's going to try to go for the bunker hill strategy and just maintain the opposition over the enemy, who's having to go through the beaches of Omaha here, getting fired away by Mindbenders and Shadow Spells from every corner. Going to be silence, but it's going to be a horror effect right before that silence goes out for Oleg. The thing was already midair, and now both of these two are just looking for a little bit of CC on one another. Mind control coming out onto the Warlock yet again, as Buzo is trying to get this Warlock off of the hill. He's playing King of the Hill here with a guy. Trying to get some maybe dots up and running onto Oleg before he comes up. He's going to go into Void Form for a second. Oleg being quite tanky as a Destro Warlock, though. Should be able to play up to the proc-based playstyle that Buzo is playing. Going to hit him with a second CC with a Chaos Bolt for freebie, but Buzo didn't take too much damage from that Chaos Bolt to follow him. He's going to get a Crucible back to the guy. Fear coming out, spam for Oleg with more Chaos Bolts to follow. It's going to get some damage in, but his health is actually looking a little bit worse for wear, as the health actually starting to go down for the Warlock. Next Horror, however, next Death Coil should be able to normalize his health. Going to be a silence as the Warlock finds himself a little bit of line of sight, trying to land those Chaos Bolts onto Buzo. Actually going to go for a Shadow Melt for a second, just to try to juke out away from the Chaos Bolt. Disperse coming out to follow, not to take more Chaos Bolt damage. Trying to put the Disperse on cooldown ASAP. He will have Empirical Base available as well, so that's going to be quite a bit of CDs to work for. And Oleg again having to go up ramp, trying to make sure he's line of sight of the Shadow Priest while he does it. Does have Crucible, and is actually having to use Crucible defensively here. Going to be a succubus CC onto Buzo with a Fear to follow. Shortest Fear in the world, however, turning the stuns around onto Oleg right now, trying to get all these dots up and running. Mind Blast to follow, and it's going to get a Mind Bend up and running. Oleg is going to take quite a bit of proc damage right now from the Shadow Priest. He needs to make a play. Infernal coming down with a fairly short cooldown. Going to be another Immolate coming out for Oleg right now, as the duel is in the 3-minute mark. And then Infernal should be able to do quite a bit of damage to Buzo. Proc damage, but also, passive damage, but also the Chaos Bolt damage. Silence onto Oleg as he's trying to get the damage out. Can he get a Chaos Bolt out? I guess the Shadow Priest at all. Buzo is just going to go for a bit of self-heal. Vampiric Embrace is up and running, leeching all the health from every enemy around him. The pets as well as the Warlock are two targets, for example, 3 targets actually, that are perfect for all that leech. And Oleg again having to be dropped down into the hole. Buzo able to get all the dots up and running. Going to be a wall for Oleg, but he can't really maximize the cast value of his abilities. The dots are really ticking down on him. Oleg is going to try to sustain himself with double Crucible, trying to maintain his health the best possible. Try to go for a bit of a horror effect probably out of this. Most likely immolate after Chaos Bolt onto Puzo. Well, Puzo survived the Infernal. He survived the value burst of the Warlock. It's going to try to get a fear. Going to be a greater fate for Puzo. And just waiting for the Warlock to come out. Just waste his time casting horror effect with the Chaos Bolt to follow. As Oleg does get himself a little bit of recovery. Disperse coming out yet again for Puzo. Just trying to maintain his health high against the Warlock. But he's trying to whittle him down over time. It looks like he might be the one pushing in. Oleg having to drop down for a second. If Puzo can go fast now, but that succubus pet is going to be slowing him down. If he can somehow force Oleg back down and having to go around the ramp, he might have him stunned onto Oleg right now. Could be a succubus CC as Oleg try to get one up and running. Silence onto the Warlock. Maybe Puzo might be able to get enough damage here to land those fresh executes, and does get the Mindbender proccing onto Oleg. That's going to be quite a bit of resource generation for Puzo. Should be able to get himself a little bit of the vampiric or void. Yep, Void Eruption coming out. Should have himself execute available. Oleg is really on the ropes. 5 minutes in, and Puzo is just fine letting this game go a little bit longer. Not getting too committed. He is playing it safely. That's going to be a bit of a greater fade out of that Chaos Bolt right before it hits. Did he even get hit by the horror effect? It looked like he might have. Is he playing Relentless? Because that horror effect does not feel like it lasts long at all. Succubus CC onto the Shatter Priest as Oleg is trying to get some damage in. Missing that stun, however. The dots are still on him, but is that damage is going to be enough? It looks like Puzo might actually just want to see if he can just end the game right here. Does it with a Crucible into an Execute, and down goes the Warlock. First man on Team Red. Caster versus Caster, and Puzo takes him out as the Russian Shadow Priest versus a Destro Warlock. Waited out the game, let it play out slow, and it looks like it's going to be Zui up next. So, with Zui playing sub-rogue, perfect opportunity for him to play for a slower game if he wanted to. But this is a Shadow Priest. They are really squishy. So for Puzo, this is going to be quite a bit of damage here, quite a bit to deal with. But if he plays it out just like he did versus the Warlock, using the mind controls is probably a good way to do it. Although Zui will have Shadow Step in order to get back to Puzo. So it's going to be a lot easier for him to connect again. He's going to interrupt him on Shadow here. But all Puzo has to worry about is the burst damage out of the Rogue, as that's all he really essentially has. Another mind control coming out. Zui is not going to trick out of it. Might have a second Shadow Step available to get back. He does actually knock himself off the platform, put himself in a bad spot, and that's actually going to be some freebie damage for the Shadow Priest. Got himself a bit of a Mind Flay onto Zui. Did get the dots up and running. Zui having to go for a heal immediately, but his health is going to start ticking down with that heal over time. Trying to catch himself a reset. But Puzo perfectly content sitting on the corner here. He's perfectly fine with that. Going to be Cold Blood available for Zui. That's actually going to be greater fate for Puzo. He does get the dots up and running onto Zui. Short Cheap Shot coming out. Going to be double Cheap Shot. Zui can go for a bit of damage, but no Shadow Blades anymore. And Puzo is actually, might have to go for, oh, Master Spell coming out over that. Oh, he Master Spelled that Maledict. I didn't know you could Master Spell. I didn't know you could MD Maledict. I did not know you could do that. Well then, that's an interesting one. Actually, it should be just survivable. Zui, I'm going to go for a bit of a reset, but without having that sustain to stay on the Shadow Priest. The Shadow Priest can play for the long game. However, the dampening is going to be harder and harder to deal with. Didn't get a greater off. Actually, Puzo didn't even have greater off available there. Get a shot into a cheap shot. Going to allow Puzo to be able to maybe get the dot. Zui going for that lucky trinket there to get an interrupt on the shadow damage to the Puzo. Is going to get himself a little bit of a greater fade, and is going to spam Shadow Men's into himself. Might be able to maybe get a dot or two rolling onto Zui if that's all he can really do. Sapka no but Zui, as Puzo is able to catch himself, almost caught himself the dot onto Zui. Almost. Nightblade again. It looks like both of these two are just going to go for a long game. 8 minutes. Like this duel alone between those two, but the first duel was like 5 minutes. This duel has been going for 3 minutes at least. So Zui should have Shadow Blades coming back soon. Velka Shadow's coming out for the sub-rogue as he's actually dipping kind of low. Puzo still holding on to his Disperse if needed. And that's going to be Zui trying to catch a reset with a Mindbender attacking him. Could probably build up some calm points off of that thing. With evasion down as well, Puzo should be able to get himself a heal or two. Shadow Strike coming out for Zui. Does not land the kick onto Puzo with a fear to follow. VT coming out right now with a Shadow Man right after. Mind Blast to follow, and actually going to go for a Mind Flay instead of Mind Control to walk Zui off that. Zui actually slowed down, having to go for a Shadow Step. Is he going to try to go for a little bit of damage right now? Actually has big damage rolling. Shadow Blades are available. Perfect opportunity for him to get the most damage. Back-to-back cheap shots though is all he was really able to do. Maybe one Eviscerate came down through that, but that's really about it. And Puzo is trying to make sure to catch a dot onto Zui right before he catches a reset. Sap comes out by the Rogue regardless either way, and Zui does get himself a clean reset. It looks like the Shadow Priest might be able to get himself back to that corner of the room. back to the side portion of the platform. But that's going to be Zui. Caught himself a complete reset there. Minute wait for the Cloak of Shadows, minute wait for evasion, 20-second wait for the trinket, and a minute 30 wait for the vanish. Still going to get up there with a knife blade. Going to be a kidney shot to follow. If you can get any damage on a squish and disc squeeze, this would be the best time. Going to be a bit of a disperse for Puzo, as he's actually just trying to stay as mobile as he can next to Zui. Malina coming out might allow Zui a little bit of a playstyle here in order to get any kind of pressure onto Puzo. Trying to go for a bit of a master spell. Does master spell his Mali, and does get a mindbender rolling onto Zui, who's going to pop a concoction for himself and try to get to the bottom side of the platform. Going to be Puzo actually running after him with a fear to follow. Chicky coming out for Zui is going to land an interrupt on the shadow damage. Puzo does have himself Vampiric base coming out very, very soon. Finally, Zui's going out for a bit more damage right now, trying to catch as many burst potentials as he can. Triple cheap shot coming out, but he's actually super low in health. That's going to be a little bit of self-healing as Zui gets himself any kind of self-heal roll, but that's going to be a bunch of dots rolling him. Shadow step into Fortune or somebody, or Janezar, and is looking to catch himself a full reset. Puzo is, I guess, going to have to wait and let the guy do it. I don't like him shadow step into a guy, but I guess there it is. It's going to have a Cloak of Shadows available, going to have trinket evasion, vanish to follow for a little bit, and Puzo is actually going to be down on defenses. Has a trinket, unless he's rolling relentless. He does have greater fate if he could use it properly. He does have swap if things ever really go bad. So Zui, is he just going to wait and stealth the whole time? He also does not have a lot of options since, well, he doesn't really have any sustain. He has to play the slow game against Puzo. Otherwise, he legitimately will lose. Triple cheap shot or triple stun coming out or trying to come out for Zui. Greater Fate did come out for Puzo at the last second. Does land a mind bender onto Zui. That's going to be at least some procs coming out for Puzo. Zui landing a blind onto Puzo, but he was not going to go for a sap. Actually, Puzo is going to be allowed to get a redot onto Zui right after. That's going to be quite a bit of damage. Zui might just have to Cloak of Shadows this and maybe commit. His health is dropping down little by little. Vanish sap coming out, but he's still going to be found out in stealth with a dot or two. Maybe? No? You'd wait it out? I guess he waited it out. Triple sap coming out, most likely onto Puzo, as Zui is going to have to go for a little bit of a longer game again. I'm actually very much surprised. He's got himself a concoction rolling. He's probably going to have Shadow Blades available this time. He's probably thinking maybe use... Yep, Shadow Blades are available. Going to have Cloak of Shadows, Trinket available, if anything. Going to be immediate disperse for Puzo. So Zui is looking to maybe catch himself another reset, but he's going to dip down onto the platform. Puzo is going to catch some dots on the guy with a Crucible to follow. Stun right after. Has a Trinket if needed to avoid Eruption. Trinket and a Cloak of Shadows coming out immediately. Puzo does not have a Mindbender to chase after Zui. It has just decided it's not worth chasing him at all. Just going to reposition himself to a platform that was Shadow Blades, Cloak of Shadows, trinket. Zui's absolutely dry. He might just have to go in for a big old Hail Mary here, unless he wants to extend this game, but it doesn't look like he has any advantage in this duel whatsoever. It looks like Puzo playing it super safe is doing it just fine as they are. And it looks like the Alliance are getting their big old hippos up and running. Hippos are known to actually eat people, so they're just hungry hippos waiting for Zui to be a little bit of a snack for them. Kidney shot coming out onto Puzo as Zui got himself one more Shadow Dance charge to get some damage in. It's going to be a Mindbender up and running onto Zui as he's going to try to see if he can maybe get some line of sight. Try to actually see if he can go the distance. Shadow step into one of the enemies, 2km, with a shadowy duel just trying to get away. Is he going to be able to catch a restyle? I think he still has a dot rolling on him, so if Puzo could catch him with a dot, he might be in a good spot. Sap coming out. Actually, it looks like Zui did wait out for every single dot available. Should get himself a concoction rolling very, very soon too. Because this has been probably the longest duel ever. What's the last duel? Lasted 5 minutes. This duel has lasted 13 minus 5, 8 minutes. So Zui has been gotten through at least 2 charges of Shadow Dance. Almost should be able to get third one up and running. Fear onto Zui as Puzo gets some dots rolling. Gonna be heal for Zui, but it's so reduced at 50% dampening. Just the longer this game goes on, the harder he makes it for himself. Massive spell coming out for Puzo to deal with the Mali. Blind coming out for Zui, but he's still fully dotted up. The procs is still happening. Could he still just die to the procs by himself? Got himself a heal, vanish to follow. The dots and procs should still be hitting him, maybe. Yes, they are. Wow, they really are. That's going to be a read-down. Roddy's didn't get that sap in. Executes coming out by Puzo into a disperse right now. Zui has Cloak of Shadows coming up in just some more seconds, but he dies either way. Didn't even matter. Longest duel ever, and Zui actually just ended up cocking himself on the healing. 54% dampening. Hoping to play a long game, but you're playing a sub-rogue, buddy. You probably should be doing for burst. Oh, the hungry hippos are appeased, dude. Look at all of them, dude. The family. And you even have Arthur, man. He's just like, all right, buddy, let's bring you back to your side. But is Arthur in the next duel? I think he is. I think he is. The hippos are hungry. The hippos are free to feast on Zui's corpse. If you guys want to form a circle around him, you're more than welcome to him. We got ourselves Ather getting hit with a little bit of a stun in the opener. Gonna go for a Hodge onto Puzo to begin with. No wings right now. Gonna be a little bit of a greater fade coming out for Puzo with a mind control. Ather did not want to get him seen. I think he might have missed his interrupt. Oh, didn't quite get the mind control onto Ather. I think the little bit of that, I think repent, or I think, what is that trinket called again? Damn it, I actually forget things so easily. Is that Blood of the Enemy for Atherman? Look at him get some big damage on the Puzzle right now. Mind control still trying to come out, trying to see if we can maybe MC some of the damage out of Atherman. Is he going to be able to? Atherman probably playing Relentless this time, I want to say, because it didn't look like, oh no, he's still adaptation. Look at the chicken. Hodge coming out to Puzzle. I think that might be the end to the Shadow Priest trying to get himself a small shield. Couldn't quite get that life swap, but Ather does close that game out. But it's not going to be an easy game, Ather. You got yourself a game with 62% dampening, because up next is going to be KM doing a little bit of a dance on you, my boy, with a bit of a leg sweep. Maybe a bubble could be coming out of Ather. Shield of Vengeance is up, but it's so reduced because of the 63% dampening. The shield, as well as the damage, is equivalent to the dampening. Going to be wings up and running for Ather, but KM is going to go for Diffuse Magic. Ather might just have to bop or bubble here. A bubble coming out, and it's going to have to go for Flash of Lights as many as he can just to recover. But KM is looking very healthy here. Definitely has a health advantage, so healing for him is not nearly as difficult. You're going to be actually port right on top of Ather, and it's going to slow him. Ather can't even go anywhere. Actually dumb for the count. Hodge coming out into KM a last bit. Oh wait, Ather actually somehow surviving. Does get himself one more flashlight, two more flashlights. Does not have anything left. That's going to be KM taking him out. Next up is going to be Fortune. KM barely used a lot of his cooldown, so this should be as fair of a duel versus Fortune. Going to see KM popping a wall. He's going to bail out of it immediately. It looks like Fortune is just going to get cooldowns out of KM. Play this super safe, dampening at 68%, so health is going to matter a lot more. KM trying to catch up on as much health as humanly possible is going to be able to catch up. But now health is going to be a lot more important for this set of duel. Fortune set himself a port where KM's port is at. So now it's going to be actually KM trying to kite Fortune around. I think he's trying to just buy himself as much time until his procs are available or until his cooldowns are back up. Leg sweep, trick out of it immediately. It's going to just run away from Fortune's damage, trying to deny it. It's going to be a leg sweep to follow. Maybe could go for a bit of damage. It's going to be tricking port for Fortune right now. SKM got his own cooldowns up and running. Both of the monks are going to cast Vivifies right now. KM is going to be down a little bit on health. Well, that health percentage make a difference here? I believe it will. I believe it will, because every bit of health matters now. But KM looks like he might be able to recover completely. Fortune is perfectly fine letting him do a complete recovery as well. He's perfectly fine just letting them match up to one another. It's like, you know what, I believe I can still win this. Fortune actually doing really good as he aggressively got Trinket out of KM, the human racial. Fortune played normal Trinket, so you'll have a human racial for later in case there's going to be a next stunt to follow. And he also does have wall if things ever really go bad. So his touch of death is going to be, first of all, stronger, but he's also going to be able to deny a lot of damage from KM. Fist of Fury locking about. Unfortunately, rolling out of Fist of Fury immediately. Both of these guys are going for Vivifies as much as they can, trying to stay ahead of each other on health. KM not going to have the Fist of Fury. Touch of Death coming out by Fortune into an incap onto KM. It's going to have a leg sweep to falling. He does. Touch of Death might actually take down before the Karma comes out. It's actually going to be huge. Does take down, and the Karma comes in. Fortune is just going to re-karma it back up to KM. No healing is going to be available, and it looks like KM is the one who's going to be paying the price. Does not have Touch of Death of his own for Fortune. Doesn't feel like he wants to use it. Porting out of the way, and Fortune not able to catch up to him. Trying to see if he can cut him off on the other side of the exit. KM is going to go for Whirling Dragon Punch. I guess he had the images up and running, so I'm hoping that maybe some of those images do damage to Fortune. Ring for ring right now for both of them. Fortune not able to lock down KM in that Fist of Fury, but is able to root him down for just a second. Wall coming out for KM. Does not have a lot of work to work with here. And that's going to be Fortune taking him out one right after the other. The monks fall. Next up for Team Russia, Baczynski. Easy or Janezar? You guys better be ready. You guys got to be ready right now. We have 81% dampening, boys. The duel versus Subbroke and the Shadow Priest was the longest one in my life. You guys better get ready. Whoever's ready, man. I would just go. Don't, like, he's not going to be able to heal fast enough, boys. I know you're trying to give him an honor duel. He's not going to be able to heal fast enough at all. He got some healing, but just get aggressive. It's 5v5 1v1 Duels. Instant chicken for easy right now from the leg sweep of Fortune. He's going to land. Oh, well, main cap actually would follow up into a leg sweep into a disarmor after Easy just getting CC back to back is going to send a Crucible of Fortune. Still holding on to Vendetta. If anything, Fortune still has 15 seconds left on the Vendetta. Easy looking to catch himself a bit of a reset. but Fortune used to get himself as much advantage on health as possible. Easy just used to end Fortune right now. He's gonna get a full vendetta. Kidney shot. He's gonna go vanish. Cheap shot to follow. Karma, he's gonna come out regardless either way with a blind to follow onto Fortune. Karma coming out. Karma shot is coming out for easy right now. Fortune shouldn't have a chicken for a little bit of time. He will have a chicken for a stun, most likely, with his chicken being a minute 20, maybe a minute 30. I think minute 30. Oh no, we'll see, because it is a little bit funky how human chicken interacts with normal chicken. Fist of Fury, lock it out easy right now. Does have shadows up if things ever go real bad. Touchdown to come out. His Fortune is trying to see if he can end the rogue with a touchdown. He's hit him with the disarm, and Easy gonna go for a bit of a crucible. He's right on time right now. Fortune trying to survive a little bit. Touchdown ticking down onto Easy. The image is actually obliterating him right now. Doesn't have a lot of health as he shadow steps back to Fortune. He does end up taking him out. Fortune did not lose that duel at all. He played it out to the end. Even got a touch of death there on the Assassination rogue. Locking out Chainsaw with a Fist of Fury into a little bit of a leg sweep. Does not have the cooldowns needed here. It's going to land him into a root with a ring, but that's going to be a Demon Hunter ranged abilities, double crucible, and down it goes. Very well played. Fortune played to the very end, but that's going to be Judo Master with all these cooldowns. Dude, both of these guys looking like a green Santa, red Santa, dude. You look like a Rudolph. What are you doing, dude? Judo Master looking like a Rudolph right now, dude. He's going to lead Fortune Slay tonight. Leg sweep on the Janes are not shrinking out of it as Fist of Furies are flying. Is going to go with the Whirling Dragon Punch. Stun, a reversal onto Judo. Metamorphosis coming out for Janesar. Not going to have any healing for this. That's going to be a Karma for Judo. Janesar just needs to survive this Karma, and he might just be good. 92% dampening, 20-minute game, and Janesar is going to drop himself Darkness for a second. Walk in Judo back into the Darkness. Getting hit with the Disarm Stone onto Judo, however. No Karma available. Missing that Fist of Fury. Janesar could end him in just a moment. Needs a little bit extra CC. In cap coming out onto Janesar. Not gonna last too long. Vivify's coming out for Judo Master Blade. That's coming out for Janesar. No Fist of Fury. Judo might actually be dead here. I-beam barely missing the guy. And Judo is getting hit with a Crucible Wall coming up right now. Does end up killing Janesar with that wall, giving him a little bit extra health pool to work with. But Shinsuke, last one left, man. He's not gonna 98% dampening. He's not healing. Just kill him. I know you want to go for that honor duel, but like, there you go, buddy. His wall is down, so Judo just doesn't have any health. Just doesn't have any. There it is. Well played, boys. Well played. Wow, that was the longest duel between a sub rogue and a shadow priest that I've ever seen. What was that? What was that? Huh? Zooey? I can't give shit to the shadow priest. He played really well. He has to play super safe. But Zooey, I know you played safe, but like what?